Hi, everybody. I guess I'm rocking like a side pony today. That's not intentional. Nothing against side ponies, but they're just not the usual here at Nikki Nights. Welcome to Nikki Nights. I hope you're all having a good week and hanging in there with me. I am having a blast here in LA. I went to the beach and like I didn't go swimming. I just kind of like stood there and relaxed for a little bit. It was really nice. I do plan on going swimming though. I brought the little suits, my bathing suits. I'm ready. But today's episode is really special because I get to speak to a young producer, journalist, an incredibly strong female. I find her very inspiring, but she's somebody that I've known almost, gosh, most of her life. She's younger than me. Um, but we have a very, very close relationship, an interesting relationship, because, well, I'm going to let her tell you how we are connected. But she is a brilliant young journalist and producer for National Geographic and has worked along with the likes of Gordon Ramsay, and I was just hearing some of her brilliant voiceover work. Alana Yzola is here today, so we're gonna bring her in. Hi, look at you. Oh, is that? I,
It's
I,
true.
I was like, gosh, that's so. I was like, how would she?
Very professional.
I was like, that's impressive.
Yeah, we just, pulled it from back, got a little set going.
But no, you are a producer, so I mean, I'm sure you could, put anything behind. Have you seen these Zooms though, where people like are just magically on a beach?
Yes, I tried that. So I just re-updated my Zoom background because before I couldn't do that. And I was like truly concerned, like, how are these people on the beach? What Wi-Fi are they getting right now? But then I updated it and I'm like, ooh, I'm on Mars today.
I
Ooh,
know.
I'm on the moon today.
I think there's also a green screen thing. I was in a recording session with friends, and one of them screenshotted a picture of the other one and then put that as the background. He was like, "Look, you can put your friends." I'm like, that worries me because people put my face in places that I just, you know what I mean? Sometimes it'll show up on a meme or something, and I'm like, there's that. Have you ever seen the GIF of me where it's like, I'm a bad, bad girl who needs to be
I
punished?
did see that one, yeah. I've seen a lot. I've also seen a lot of your sounds on TikTok, like everywhere. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what? There's sounds?
Yeah, there was one that was because when I was in Maryland, that has geolocation on, so I usually get TikToks that are geared towards wherever I'm at, and there was like this insane spectacle of like these two people fighting in Baltimore, and it was like "Good Morning Baltimore" was like playing in the background, and it was
It,
also pretty iconic.
honestly, people and what they create on the internet, it never ceases to amaze me. Seriously, it doesn't. I will tell my best friend Amy, I'm like, look, my DMs are a crapshoot every day. I never know what I'm gonna get. Like, it could be the greatest
Yeah.
news in the world. It could. It's just, but that's the internet. That's a chance you take.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to you about your career because it's interesting, our relationship. I was going to let you tell everybody how we know each other.
Yeah, for sure. So I've known you for so long. What, 15 years? I don't
At
even
least,
know.
at
At
least.
least, at least. And the first time I actually saw you was at like a high school performance for Sweeney Todd. That was like the first time I was
I
like,
didn't know
I
that.
was there. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's great. Like that was the very first time
Oh,
like I saw you. So I was like, that's so cool. I actually like that was that at
South.
North High?
South High.
South. It was at okay. That's why I was there because I went to South. So the performance was happening, and I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, that's so great. And then a few weeks later, my dad says like, oh yeah, I have this security guard gig for someone, and I think was that right around time Hairspray like started, or was that right before?
It
I
was
think it was right.
Hairspray we had just filmed it, and it hadn't, it was
Right.
it was literally in the editing room, and then I went to do Harold in Great Neck. That was my next
Right.
movie.
Right. So it's like, yeah, have you ever my dad, he's just like out of the loop with some stuff. So he's like, have you ever heard of this movie? I don't know. It's called Hairspray. I'm like, yeah. It's like, I've heard of the play and I don't think it was out at the time yet. It's like, yeah, I've heard of it. It's like, oh yeah, it's the star of that. Like I'm doing security for her. I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. And then I put two and two together. I'm like, wait a minute, I saw her in Sweeney Todd. That's so cool. And then you were filming in Great Neck, and then we just connected from there. And then you've been like family since really.
Yeah, I mean, your dad, I have to say, when he came into my life, and I tell him this, I had just experienced like losing my uncle to suicide, and it was such an intense tragedy. My uncle was an extremely strong male figure in my life, right up there with my dad. And so when I lost him, I my heart was kind of empty. And then when your dad came into my world and we started working together, I very much felt that my uncle sent your dad my way. Because your dad, working with Alana's dad, he's I've had security guards, but then I have Rick, and I can talk to him. Rick has probably heard more about my ridiculous relationships. God knows. I mean, he's been there for me through it all, and when you can count on somebody like that in this, not just in this business, but in life, you know that somebody has your back in every way, shape, or form. It just means the world. So I just wanted to take this chance to thank you for sharing him with me for these years.
More than spreading the love. My dad, there's no one on this planet like him, and I'm very, blessed that God chose him to be my father. So I'm glad that he can share this love around. So yeah.
Yeah, and then he started telling me about your work in film and TV. Tell me how that came about for you.
So
Interest in television and journalism.
yeah, for sure. So, well, I went to school. I've always been into, film, videography ever since I was little. There's like this iconic, I say iconic too much, I need to stop, but there was this iconic home video of me when I was like 2 or 3 years old, like sobbing, crying, like boo-hooing hard. And then they put a camera in front of my face, and it was the first time they had the home film recorders that can flip and you can see yourself. And I was crying, and then they flipped the camera around so I could see myself, and then I just stopped crying, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is dope. This is everything. And then growing up, I would, wrangle all my friends and my younger cousins, and we would make like movies together, or like reality show spin-offs. I think we did like The Real World, or we had like this like Making the Band-esque thing where I would just edit everything just on my camcorder. Like I didn't have editing software at all. I was literally stopping and re-recording over and editing it there. So I went to school. I went to University of Maryland for broadcast journalism. At the time, I wanted to be like an anchor woman on television, and that was my whole jam. But then as I kept, progressing, and technology was kind of like evolving around me, I was like, wow, I really like this internet space a lot. Like I think there's a lot of potential for like video on the internet, and YouTube was just starting to like pick up. I think YouTube came out in 2005, but it started to pick up around the 2010,
It
2011 era.
started to grow legs, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, there could be something there. And then I started just making like natural hair videos like on my spare time on my old like YouTube channel. And then when I got out of school, my first like job out of college, it was just kind of like a cubicle job. It was marketing, but not fun marketing. It was just literally like a business to business, and I was just miserable. Like everyone around me was like, wow, Lana, you got a job right out of college, like you're getting good money, you got your own apartment. But I was literally miserable, like completely torn up. My mom at that time was going through a health scare, so I was very like down on that. And there was just a lot of things personal in my life, a lot of like trials and tribulations that I personally was going through that put me in a very dark spot. So I got out of that job. I took this remote edit curating job for this up and coming media company, just to get like my sea legs back. And then I got an alert that Business Insider had an internship opportunity. And I'm like, I just came from a full-time job. Do I want to take this internship? Is that going backwards? But then my mom was like, no, you got to take it. You never know where it can lead. And when they hired me, they told me, oh, you'll be an intern for this special project. And that special project ended up being Insider, because that didn't exist then. So when I started, it was like 5 of us in this tiny little room, just editing away, trying to throw like anything on the wall to see what would stick. We tried everything from like 20-second videos to long Facebook posts disguised as articles because we didn't even have a website yet, and just kept trying and trying. And then after a while, it just took off. So 4 years later, down the road, we were traveling. We had a travel budget. I was going out filming things all over the world, for
I remember.
food, travel, culture. And it was so great to see how it progressed. I think by the time I left Insider, there was almost like over 80 people there. And I just remember when there was like 5 of us. So it was like so cool to see that evolve and being involved in the growth of that. So that was amazing. And then, yeah, I got a job at National Geographic where I'm doing marketing for their channel side, still video editing and stuff like that. And with this quarantine that happened, I haven't actually officially worked in the office yet. So with this newfound isolation, I got back into YouTube and kind of still trying to continue to tell stories that I feel are important to tell.
Yeah, I mean, and just it's funny you mentioned started making videos when you were younger. I started in my living room with my cousins. We had a group called the Beauty Marks, and we would go and take all my grandmother's old like dresses that she used to wear, like from back, like when she was in weddings or whatever, and we would put them on and perform. So that reminded me of that. And you said that, but it is amazing too. I've been there and I've seen your career and the different levels. And I thought I traveled a lot. And then there was a point where I was like, Rick, she's never home. Like, wow, she travels a lot. You've been to some amazing places. Where's one of the places that this line of work has brought you that maybe you didn't think you'd get to or as fast as you got there?
I think the most, wow, I'm here. I never even thought I would be here was probably South Korea.
Wow.
Was really fun. Yeah, that was great. I did this show with a good friend of mine, Heron Rowe, and my other friend, Steven Parkhurst, and we did the show with Insider called The Great Cheese Hunt, which was a Facebook Watch show where we went around the world to try and learn about the different cheeses that the world had to offer. It was hosted by my friend Heron, and I was the showrunner for that, and Steve was the DP. So we kind of like worked together to like go to different places, and we saw this like really, really cool like cheese bowl thing that was happening in South Korea and Seoul. I believe it was Seoul. We weren't just in Seoul. We were in a few places. It was such a blur. We were only there for 3 days, but it was still really fun. So we got to go there, and that was just so much fun. Heron is Korean, and she's always like told me about her culture through food because I love to eat, and so does she. That's why we're friends.
Well,
And
that's
she would
another
always take me
thing. I feel like our families
and
have bonded so much over food. Like I have
food is
tasted
everything.
when your mom brought Cuban food into my life, I was like, "What? What is?" I was blown away. I've never had it before, and it has just made so
Yeah,
many of my days. And then when because your dad used to work really close to our old house, or he still does, and so I immediately when I would be making any type of like pasta or chicken parm or whatever. Rick is the first person, and my garlic cheese bread. Every time I make
oh,
it,
he
I
raves
send.
about it. He
Even if
raves
I
about
don't, even if I can't get him some, I'm like, please know that I'm making it in your honor. And when I come home, I will make you a loaf. So when I come back from LA, that's the first thing I have to do is make Rick a loaf of bread.
He loves it. He loves it.
So, I mean, it's interesting. And I've noticed traveling food is that one thing that really does bring everybody together. It's like music. But it's that thing that we all need, right? It's the thing we all
Yes.
crave. And I think that's why when I traveled, I noticed that some of the most interesting places that I've been to, like Japan, it was like I noticed I was sitting there eating sushi, just a cucumber roll, and I was like, I'm really eating sushi in Japan. Like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then
That
they
was
brought over a jar of Hellman's mayonnaise. I was like, wait, what? I was
yeah.
like, I felt
Yeah.
like, I was like, wait. but it was really, really cool to see a part, two cultures merged like that. You're eating authentic Japanese sushi with helmets.
Yep. Yep. Unfortunately, we just can't escape the American influences of stuff sometimes. Unfortunately, sometimes I just want a pure experience. That was when I went. I went to Dubai for the first time,
I
and
remember
I
that.
was so excited. That was my first like big girl trip. And then I landed, and I just felt like we just flew in the air for 14 hours and landed back in America for where we were. I was kind of eventually we were able to like venture out into like the real like UAE and stuff like that, but it was just so heavily like American influence. And
Did you do anything of like that the girls in Sex and the City did? I have to ask because I love that movie.
we I mean, I went to Dubai Mall, so that was one
Yes.
thing. I so and then but I think that it was great because we had a choice of either, I think the choice was either staying in a hotel the whole time or staying in a really nice hotel one night and then camping out in the desert the other night. So we all decided to do that, and camping out in the desert was everything. We took four-wheelers over the sand dunes, and we got like live performances, outdoor grill. It was wonderful, and then we camped under the stars, and that was also like a
That's
travel highlight.
That sounds magical. It does, because
Yeah.
there were certain points in my traveling, like that certain places just felt magical and ethereal. And I think now back on them, I think I always look back, I go back to Lugano, Switzerland, and just waking up and
Mhm.
just taking the shades and opening them and just looking onto a
Picturesque.
lake and snow-capped mountains. And I was
Doesn't
like,
even look real
everything is
there.
well with the world for 5 seconds. Um,
Yeah.
but one of my favorite things about you is you have such passion for what you do. And I went to a protest in Great Neck, and of course I saw your dad. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna. My mom was like, do you know anybody who's gonna be there? I was like, no, but I have a feeling like I might. Rick, he might be working there. Who knows? And
Yeah.
he was, um, and I got to see your aunt, Serena, and Uncle Mike, and it was just it was you have been out there protesting, and you were what was the cover of that paper that you were, was it?
It was a local paper in Easton, Maryland called the Star Democrat. I believe a few other publications were there. So I did a few protests, one in a very kind of rural slash red county in Maryland, where, me and my fiance are currently, eventually we're going to be moving a little bit closer to the city for work. But right now we're there. And for Juneteenth, we wanted to organize something. So me and my brother-in-law to be got everyone together, and through my, I guess now my family. I'm engaged, so I'm like trying to like
I know, I want to talk
get
about this.
the titles of everything. But my in-laws have this organization called Building African American Minds, and it's not only just like a rec center. So they have this amazing facility that allows anybody, any race, to come in, play basketball, get extra assistance in terms of like education, like homework help. Just a place where they can really be themselves and grow, and learn. And there's also they also hold events for the community, because the YMC in the area felt a little exclusionatory to a lot of the Black boys in the town, so they wanted to have a space for them. But BAM is really for everyone, and through BAM we were able to throw this amazing Juneteenth event where we all got together, we marched, we did a 8-minute kneel in honor of George Floyd, and just kind of really got the community together and opened a lot of people's eyes. And that was incredible to help organize that event. And then right before that, I went down to DC and did a very, very much bigger scale march. I wasn't the leader of that, but I was so glad to like be there and be a part of it. And we marched, I believe, from the Senate building to the African American Culture Museum, which was about a few hour walk. It was a few hour march. And it was hot. I got some thighs on me, so there was some chafing going on.
You and me both. When I was at the one. Oh, here's a ridiculous story. I was at the one in Great Neck, the protest in Great Neck, our hometown, and I'm midway on, to the park in our. We went from
Mhm.
Jonathan Lee Iope Park, and we went all the way down to the main park across from Deli on the Green. Why am I blanking?
I know what it is. I
Village
don't
Green.
remember the name.
Village Green
Yes.
Park. So, and that, you guys, is like a good couple of mile walk. So I think I'm doing the nice thing. I go to Dunkin' Donuts, buy a bunch of waters, Gatorades, bring them to your dad, gave him a bunch, bring some for me. Now I'm like, yeah, we're walking a lot, so let me replenish my fluid. Are you kidding? I had to pee so bad. I went into the
Mhm.
Ralph's Ices. Ralph's Ices turned me away. I'm like, come on. I ran into Dollar Tree. They're like, nope, it's broken. I'm like, that's a lie. You just don't want to let me in. And so then I found myself standing at Jenny Craig. And I was like standing outside the door like a lost puppy. I was like, and I knocked on the door, and this woman came to the door and she goes, are you okay? I said, I'm so sorry, but I'm protesting, but I really have to pee. Like it's killing me. I said, can I please? And she looked at me, she goes, wait a second. Yeah. And I said, she goes, I know who you are. She goes, but I'm letting you know, I'm letting you into pee because I know your mother. And I was like, oh, she's like, so I said, so my mom's saving me in this case? She said, yeah. So I went inside and she was so sweet. I went pee and then she goes, let me give you some snacks to take with.
Oh, nice.
She brought me in the Jenny Craig snack room and gave me a bunch of snacks. So, but it was really, and like I had talked about in Hairspray, we filmed a scene like that, a big protest scene, but then to actually be there in real life, I mean, the one in DC sounded really. How many people? There must have been
There was, I think, there was 500,000 was one estimate. There
500,000.
was a lot. So the thing is, that day there was a lot of different. Everything was for the same cause, but there were different organizers. So,
Mhm.
but we all kind of meshed in at one point. And when we stopped and we kneeled in front of the African American Culture Museum, I just remember everyone just sobbing because to see everyone was walking and cheering. There was music. It was such like a beautiful event. It wasn't like what you're seeing, on news sometimes where it's just like this violent. It wasn't. It was so beautiful. It was so peaceful. It was just genuinely fun, but also reflective. It just all of the anger that we all had built up for so long was able to be released, and that catharsis really just calmed me spiritually. Like I was vehemently sobbing. I was crying right in front of there. I was just I don't everything that I'd been feeling for so long had finally had its release. And I didn't realize that I needed to cry until I started crying. And then I couldn't stop. And I think for me, that's probably like, that was literally the most moving thing that I had personally ever been through. Just to see everybody, sorry, to see everybody.
No, don't. No, please never be sorry for feeling emotion because I cry all the time. I've noticed since the pandemic, Alana, I have cried more since this whole thing started than I have in like 4 years because I felt for a very long time, and I'll be very honest, after my uncle passed, I kind of closed off emotions. I shut them off. I said I'm only going to use them for work, and then I found out that it was doing me no good. And I the past, I want to say since April, it's just been waterworks, and I'm more than okay with that because I'm starting to feel again. And I've literally told people, I want you to know, like, I'm not a crier, but I tuned it off for a very long time. So if I offend you by crying, I'm sorry, but I'm not because this is how I'm
Yeah.
feeling right now. And you have to feel everything, especially right now. I
Yeah.
mean, you are also engaged, and the pandemic has unfortunately put a pause on your wedding, but what has that been like? I'm not trying to make you cry more, but I've been wanting to find out. It's got to be incredibly tough to be engaged and to the love of your life, which I cannot wait to meet him. Still haven't met him. I don't know
Yeah.
how.
He's great. He's everything. He's literally my biggest cheerleader. Like my biggest support system. I don't think I would be able to handle all these changes without him because I'm very much I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with astrology, but I believe it to an extent. And it's my big three is what they call it, where it's your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. My
Right.
sun and my moon are Leos, but my rising sign is a Virgo, and I have a lot of Virgo tendencies where I like things a very certain way. I like things organized. I have perfectionist issues, and I want to make sure everything's perfect. So this pandemic was like, ha, ha, you
Yeah.
really thought you had a girl. You thought that's cute. That girl, sit
Yeah,
down.
exactly. I know. I felt
So
that a million times. The pandemic was like, you thought you had it all together, didn't you?
no, so
Nope.
I had to cancel a lot of plans. My bachelorette party in New Orleans, which is one of my favorite cities in America, like hands down, one of my favorite cities. I had to cancel, my honeymoon, my wedding, and just like it's just like canceling this and this and this and this. But
But can I tell you, it's a testament to your relationship, though,
yeah,
because when you are a pandemic comes and now you're with that person
mhm,
24/7, you're not at work anymore, you're living at home all day long together, and then the stress of a wedding on top of it, but then having this wrench thrown into it where it's like now it's all uncertain. The one thing that you can be certain on is each other.
yes,
And that's a beautiful
absolutely.
thing. That love is there, and
I
no
absolutely agree.
pandemic can take that away. Let them
Nope.
try.
Actually, I think it made our relationship stronger in a way. It just taught us both how to roll with the punches, how to adjust, how to adapt, and just to like find fun where there isn't any. We've gotten creative. My fiance is really into music and music producing, so he has made a soundproof booth in our office yesterday.
That was the best expression ever. If that is not the expression of a future wife, I don't know what. She's like, he made. I love you so much.
Give him that. I'll give him that. It works. It works well. I'll give him that. It works.
I
Very
love
large.
it. Well, as life goes on, he's going to have a new project like every 2 years. Like, there's going to be a shed built at some point,
Oh, definitely. He's
a
already talking
full
about it.
on, like,
He's already talking
background
about it. He
playground for the kids.
trust me, and he will do it. He both loves saving money and has a mechanical engineering degree, so he will rebuild everything if he could. Like,
See, that's where you're lucky because I'm not handy at all. At all. I find it's like with me, the one thing, if people date me, they can count on a good meal and some laughs. But when it comes to like putting things together, no, nope. So consider yourself lucky. I mean, my father, I love him dearly. The man can't, nope. He's never even touched a computer. Do you know that?
really?
He's
Oh,
never, he's never, my laptop will sit there. I'll say, Dad, do you want to see what a Google is like? You want to go on? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. He's like, it's just not my generation's thing. He's like, our thing was like, he was born in 56. So his generation was very much like, just going out. It was like that time period of like John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever. That was my dad and his boys,
yeah.
So it's interesting to see how the times have changed, and it's funny. He still can't. The FaceTime just trips him up every time. My mom will do it for him, and he's like, "But I don't." He's like, "It's just amazing to me." So it's cute to see our parents
It's
on
adorable.
social media, and I see your mom on my Instagram all the time, and she puts pictures up of the food she cooks, and I have been literally several places around the world, and when Karen Yzola puts up one of those photos, I stop dead in my tracks. I'm like, what is she
Right
making
there.
now?
She's right here and she's smirking right now.
Ah, see, what do you got going today? Well, I know she's gonna be thinking of something.
She's gonna cook some bomb salmon. We had some New Orleans red beans and rice yesterday, and andouille sausage. Excuse me. So she's been cooking up. I'm here for the week, so she's been cooking every day. So yeah, lucky.
That's great. My mom has been on a meatloaf rant this entire pandemic.
Oh,
Meatballs, rather. I'm sorry. I think she's made at least 6 dozen meatballs. Like I'm like, she's like the Keebler elf over there, just cranking them out.
Oh my God. Yep.
And there's been a lot of, my dad loves his sausage and pepper, so there's been a lot of
Mm.
that too. But I found myself baking a lot for some reason.
See,
Find
I
it
can't. I try to
calming.
bake something as simple and forgiving as a banana bread, and it just ended up being a banana pancake somehow. I used the wrong pan. It was like this thin. It was still good, but it was like this thin. But yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of engaged, Joey, your buddy's engaged now.
Word!
Yeah.
Word!
So there are two
Amazing!
family weddings. Yeah, I'm still, I'm the
Love it.
lone soldier over here on a single island, and that is more than okay with me because I can't wait to celebrate you guys because I know eventually this will pass and you're going to have your dream wedding. Joey's going to have his dream wedding. I'm going to hopefully be at both. And
Well,
it's just so nice to see young love in today's world because I know my experiences with dating apps. It's scary out there. So actually I'm finding so much inspiration and love from your and Kendrick's story and Joey and Gina's story. And you guys are younger than me, so it's true to say that you could find inspiration from. You don't have to be, super old and some mystical. No, you can find inspiration from anywhere, and from. I always find that I find it from the people I'm closest to.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Well, where can we keep up with you, and where can we find out what's going on next with you?
Oh, a couple of places. So you can follow my YouTube channel. It's Alana Y, spelled WHY, where I do breakdowns. When I
I
was back
saw
in
that and I was like, that's the cutest.
so I do breakdowns on big questions that are surrounding music, culture, as well as fashion. So the last video I did was on Telfar and whether or not it's worthless or not as a brand. And the time before that, I broke down WAP and the WAP controversy of Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion's new song. So I do a lot of video and topic breakdowns there. I also do some editing at National Geographic. And if you want to catch up on any of my old videos from Insider, you can go to alanayzola.com where all of my videos are there.
And I was actually just listening to some of your voiceover work.
Oh,
And now you did it for Gordon Ramsay show. That must have been so cool.
yes. So I didn't do it for the actual show. I did it for the promo for the show.
Right.
That was super fun because before I got to Nat Geo, they weren't really doing a lot of those, but I was like really determined because I felt like I want to do something different. So I was so happy that they let me do it. And that was a lot of fun because I love doing voiceover work. I love telling stories like visually and audibly, things beyond just like text on screen. I think it's a powerful tool and I love it. It's just a lot of fun just getting in the booth and just saying words.
It
I don't
is.
know.
It's a
It's
lot of
fun.
fun. I go in there, Alana, I've gone in there in pajama, like leggings and hoodies, like no makeup. It's the best thing in the world. So, well, I love you, kid.
Love you too. Thank you so much
No, thank you so
for
much.
allowing me to be on your podcast.
No, it's
Visual
been really
podcast?
great. What?
Is it like it's like a visual podcast? I
It
love that.
is. I wanted to. So what we do is we put it up on YouTube, and that's where like the visual aspect because I feel like my guests. I'm so blessed to have such fun animated guests. Like people who have really lived incredible lives, and we hear such fun stories on this show, and I just feel like I want everybody to see their smiles, and so we put it up. But then we also, of course, put it up on Spotify for. Everybody to listen to in the car or wherever. And it's been just really cool to see I think apps, on the Anchor app, actually, people can leave me voicemails letting me know what
Oh
they think of
no.
the podcast. So now that I said that, I've gotten nice ones. So now that I've said that, please don't leave a nasty one. But but it's my life, so it's all coming. But it's really been fun to do this podcast and get to talk to literally people that I've worked with, and then people and that have just been a constant in my life. So it's been really nice. So I thank you for today and for the past 15 years of friendship, my friend.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'll see you
We gotta
soon.
catch up in person. once this is all over.
In person. Yes, you got it. I see wine on the horizon.
Yes, lots of it, please.
Yes,
Drown me in it.
I'll see
Bye.
you soon. Bye. Oh my gosh, that was so fun to have her on because I've watched her career. I've heard from Rick how she's doing and where she is, and she went from insider, and it's when you see somebody with passion like that who just genuinely wants to make the world a better place. It's so inspiring to me because she is young and she's just out there putting in the work and grinding. And when you have that fire inside you that you want to do something in this world, you want to, you know, this business is hard, whether it's the media aspect, whether it's, the acting aspect, but when you just feel it and you know it, when you know, you know. And she knows with her fiance, she knows with her career, and I know as well that she's going to succeed in love and in life because she's a beautiful person. And Alana, thank you for just being here today. It's really interesting to have family on. I consider her family because you guys are, this is it's like a chat in my living room, but at the same time it's with somebody that knows all the inner workings over here at Nikki Island. So it's really cool to be able to chat with her and let you guys maybe see all the people that make up my heart. That's what the show is about. That's what my book is about. All the people that just I'm blessed to call family and friends every day. And please know that you are in that group of people because I consider you all friends to everybody who listens to this. So I bid you a good day, my friends, and I'll see you soon.